Godzilla. Godzilla was always a man in a suit, except this is what he would look like if he was done using computer-generated imagery. This is a dream sequence from a film called Always Sunset on 3rd Street Part 2, which is about Japan in the late 1950s. And so they have a little dream sequence and they have Godzilla there. So that's my little canned history of monsters on film, and now we'll tear down the projector and I'll finish talking. As we mentioned in week number 1, Godzilla has been around since 1954. The first series of films ran until 1975. And then there was a lag time, about 10 years. In 1984, a second series began with a reset. In other words, they ignored all previous movies except the original one in 1954. They said, okay, none of that ever happened. We're going to start all over again with new Godzilla movies starting in 1984. The first feature that we showed in this year's summer camp, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, was part of the second series, which ran from 84 to 95. Then there was another break, and in 1999, Toho Pictures, which is the Godzilla production company, began a third Godzilla series with tonight's movie, once again a reset. In other words, they ignored all of the history that had gone before, and they said, okay, we're just going to use the Godzilla concept, the Godzilla character, but we're not going to pretend that any of these other movies actually happened. As I mentioned before, Godzilla 2000 it contrasts to the American film that retains the monster suit effects. So you're going to see a man in a suit play Godzilla tonight. However, as with many of the Godzilla films in the 1980s and 1990s, they used computer and optical effects as well. But Godzilla himself was always going to be a man in a suit, because that's the way they did it. They also, as I showed you the pictures earlier, they redesigned it a little fiercer, and they didn't disappoint the fans who wanted to see the big lizard face off against another giant monster. In this case, the monster's called Orgo. And it's sort of like a giant, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but I can see it. The version of Godzilla 2000 we're seeing tonight, unless they cross me up at the last minute, is the re-edited and dubbed American release. We've shown the Japanese film with the subtitles earlier, but we've got a nice one in American English that you want to do any reading while you're watching the movie tonight. As far as I know, some critics accuse TriStar Pictures, which released the Hollywood Godzilla as well, and released this one, of dubbing Godzilla 2000 in a deliberately sort of mocking manner. But others feel that the overall tone is appropriate to the original. And also, there are people in the Godzilla fan community who even prefer the American version that you're going to see tonight. It's a little shorter, not super shorter, but 8 or 9 minutes shorter, and they prefer it to the Japanese version because it has better pacing, they like the music better, etc., etc. All right, just about time for movie. I thank you for putting up with us while we did our little technical running around, and believe me, it was a strain. While they're actually getting ready to do it, and they're almost ready to let it roll, I'd like to thank the staff at Hirshhorn for providing the films this summer and every summer, and for you to thank them as well, so next year we'll be guaranteed more. Give yourself a hand and enjoy.